Okay. E-learning team piloted Echo 360, the active learning platform, a couple of years ago, and it's extra functionality with our lecture recording system. So it's being deployed this year. Basically, the delay was caused by, one, we needed a technical upgrade to be able to use the ALP across the university, and also last year they did a review of our lecture recording system, and we weren't sure, of course, if Echo would be retained, but it came up on top. So this year we've been deploying the active learning platform. It can be used in a couple of different ways. It can be used for active learning in class, as well as for adding videos and discussion questions for online. So a really good tool for blended. As far as active learning, just to put it in context, we have a few tools that we support for active learning. So one of them, as Norman was just discussing, is Padlet. So a lot of people use Padlet not just online, but as well as an active learning tool in class. And the other tool we have is the Active Learning Suite. So a very simple in-house tool, has a word cloud, a word like a stream, like a Twitter-like stream, and a poll. So this is sort of another tool. It's a bit more sophisticated than our polling tool that we already have, the UQ Active Learn, and a little bit different to how you'd probably use Padlet. So we're sort of expecting it mainly to be used in active learning in probably large groups, so seminars and lectures, etc. So everyone actually has access, so I'll just quickly show you how you access it. So in Learning Resources, of course, you'd have your lecture recording link. If you don't have lectures in your course, you can still use it. Just log a job with ITS. They can add a link in and a course, and you'll be able to use the system for seminars, etc., if you don't have lectures, or tutorials as well. So if you click on the link, it'll come up in a new tab. So by the way, who's downloaded the app and is going to be involved? Thanks, Sab. A few? We've got a few? I'll walk around when we get going. Let's have a look. Yeah. So I've got Lyria's going to do it, and I've also got a student account, which is really handy, and I'm going to show you on my phone as well. So, and I'll just give a bit of feedback about the sort of how staff have been using the feedback we've got so far. So basically you can upload your slides to the system if you want, that's one option, and add interactive learning activities to the system. Our video. So I'll just show you, this one's already been set up. So for example, if I was in a seminar or a lecture, before the session, I come in here, click on this and choose to upload my presentation. And I'll just show you that. So I'll create a new one. So I'd upload my slides, and then I could come in here and add activity slides. If we have time at the end, I'll have a quick demo of that. But I just want to show it to you as a student. So I've got a BALI cop here, so hopefully you can find that. That's the first one. So I've got it open on my phone. It's the top one on my phone. It's the purple one.
Is that something you registered us for through having our email list, or is that something we can?
Yes.
We should go into Blackboard.
Because you're staff members, I had to add you in manually. But all the students are already got accounts in Echo 360, so they don't have to do any setup at all. So no account setup, no fussing, click on the link and it works. If they use their phone app, they just download the app, they log in with their UQ user, they log in, they put in their UQ email address, the @student one, and they log in, and it knows all their courses they're in, etc. So basically usable straight away, no setup. Well, for the students.
So I can open the app, and are other people already registered to the course there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have a look, and maybe it's, yeah. Could you have a quick look, maybe? So I'll just go in here. So I'll just come into the BALI cop, And basically, I'll just start. So what feedback we've got from staff is some people like uploading their PowerPoints to the system. It makes it sort of quick and easy. Some staff fed back that because you upload it, you don't get the animations. So some staff have decided they're still going to present from their PowerPoint because they want animations, etc. But they're just going to put the active learning questions in here. So there's two main options and staff are doing that. One staff member said he thinks his students mainly basically, they open up their laptops and write their notes, and they're basically just using their phones for the interactive questions. So there's a few different ways to tackle it. So I'll just show you the first one. Now I'll just run you through a few different question types that are available so you can get a bit of idea of the sort of what's possible in the system. So the first one's a short answer. Is that open? Right. So I've just opened the activity. So basically you can choose to shut it down or not. So I just give everyone a chance to put in some answers. So I'm just putting a simple one. The other thing is make sure you tell the students to press the submit button. And the sort of tips I've got from working with staff is a lot of them don't even think about moving around, encourage them to move around the room. Yeah. Just go back. Go back in. It's just because I updated it. Yeah, there you go. It was just, I didn't refresh. Also, I found in the pilot that some students will sit on the answers. I did a pilot, one of the groups was a law class, and they'd put their answer in and then they'd sit on it. So we had to go around going, commit guys, press submit, and encourage them to sort of submit that. So I've got 4 responses. Anyone else still responding? The other thing we encourage is a countdown. I got that from Melanie Robinson. So 1, 2, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Encourage them to sort of submit. So I'm just going to stop that so I can close the activity. And I'm just going to show the answers. So they also will come up on the student's device. So they probably can't see what's being said on the screen, but they can see it on their own devices, basically. I normally pick out, you could have hundreds, pick out a couple to discuss. So getting students involved, being active, engaging students, learning by doing. So you can probably see how you might use that, and that's probably one of the main things we've been asked with these sorts of tools is, I don't just want a polling tool, I want a free response tool. So that's one type of question. Now, the multiple choice questions, you can set them up to be multiple choice, true, false, multiple answer. There's different ways to set it up. So with that one, I'm just going to have to reset that one. Oops, and they should be there. So this is just true, false. That's my mistake, I should have fixed it. Is there a dark side of the moon? I always like true, false for misconception questions. So just A or B, is there a dark side of the moon? So we've got a couple of submissions. Oops, sorry. Three. I might just, and 4. I've lost a little tab. Okay, so basically I'm just going to stop that one and I'll just show the answer there, show the results. So we've got someone answered that. So true and false, the answer is actually false because of the rotation, the dark side changes, so it's not always the same area. I can also show the correct answer if I want to, probably pretty useful in a recording, etc. And there we go. This is an image quiz, so this is a stimulus slide basically I've put in the system, it's just an image. And my question is, where is this? Any ideas? Yes, it's Darwin. Darwin, you can't swim in the sea because of the jellyfish, so of course, being good Darwinians, they built themselves a wave pool in the middle of the city. Not while I live there though. Okay, this is an image question. It sort of shows some of the limitations of the tool at the moment, so I've deliberately set up a few of the limitations here for you. Where is Darwin located? So you need to put your dot on and press submit. And you'd be amazed how difficult this is. So we've got 2. Make sure you press submit. This is the main problem I find with this. People put their dot on and just think that'll react, and you have to actually submit. Righto, I think I'll do a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm just going to stop that. Now, I can show the answers by clicking here, but you probably can't see them. The problem is the dots are yellow. So you can't use yellow backgrounds if you want to show the answer. Also, when the students put in the dots, they're blue, so it makes it hard to use blue backgrounds. ECHO are aware of this issue. We have been promised that different size dots and different coloured dots are on the roadmap, but something to be aware of. You can also, so I've got 3 dots up here and 1 dot in the middle of Western Australia. And I'm just going to show a solution, and 1 person got in the dot. So that's the sort of square, and that's the other thing, especially if you're doing sort of locate this in the human body, etc. It's only squares. You can't make polygons. We fed that back too. That's not yet on the roadmap, but I'll work on feeding that one back. So that's there too. This is really effective. I've seen this in the pilot in education lecture. Basically getting 300 students to put dots on, and then you have this big swarm basically over the right answer, well, hopefully. This is a numeric question, so not to get anyone too scared. We first have your stimulus slide to remind everyone of the formula. And this shows another limitation basically. If an area of a rectangle is 6 centimetres wide and 4 centimetres wide, what is the area in centimetres squared? You can't put the superscripts in, which is a bit of a pain. And so you can enter your answers there. We also found, and I'll show you this, we found a way to fix it. I'll just put this answer in so you can see. So, waiting on one more. I might just finish that one there. So I'll just show the answers. So 24 and 24.0. Now if I show the correct answer, it doesn't see 24.0 as correct. There's a way around it. You can actually put ranges in when you set it up, and you have to put a range in so it'll accept the 0 point. So that's a limitation. Yes?
Are the correct and incorrect answers, is there any way these can be fed back in the grade center?
Yes, yes. You can set it up so the results go back to grade center. Yeah. This is an ordered list. And this is sort of designed, as I said, a lot of these tools, especially when we originally started rolling out the active learning tools, people said, well, that's really great, Ailsa, but my subject doesn't have right answers. Yes, so this one I think this is the stimulus. So romantic comedies. And this is the activity. This is put in order. So put in order from best to worst these romantic comedies. So of course, well, there is a right answer, my answer, but there isn't a right answer. You could set this up with a right answer, that's possible. So, you know, maybe it's a health and safety simpleton. And what order should you wash, you know, your dishes? And maybe putting the knives in where you can get cut isn't a good idea. Yeah. So I'll let everyone have a go at that. And make sure you press the submit button. And when you press the submit button, you'll see this, and this is what you can do with all the questions except for the short answer. You can actually make them justify their answer. Now, the feedback we actually got in the pilot, we had a focus group because we're finding the students weren't really answering these as much when they had a justification, and the students just said, it's a bit too much effort. Some of them said, do a couple of justifications, but if you make them all justifications, well, it's too much work. So use them wisely is the feedback we got. So we've got 4, just stop that there. Now what I find with this is it's probably not the best display, but I don't know how you display it. I think it works better if there's right answers. But basically the different combinations. So we all did that differently.
Have you ever used the feature at the bottom there, it says text PDGF and your response to a phone number, and when I do that it says we don't recognize your number, please check your account.
Yeah, that's the only thing. If you want students to use that, they actually have to pre-put their phone numbers into the system. And we've basically found out from the pilot students don't tend to do that, so they're either using the app or they're not. Yeah. I wish you could turn it off, and that's what I've got, that message, but you can't, so yeah. You can go to that view, or you can have a grid view. If there's a right answer, you can actually highlight the right answer. We'll just see how you go. Princess Bride got 2, 1 for Pretty Woman and 1 for Weddings and Funeral. I've done this quite a few times, and Princess Bride nearly always comes out on top. Right. I might just jump over the discussion question, leave that to the end. I mightn't actually go through these, but this is part of a workshop we deliver. And one of the other things we show is we have a quick go at looking at the different types of questions, but we also talk about different ways, like peer instruction. So it doesn't just have to be individual work. So we basically talk about how you could have it as a peer instruction, so i.e. get all the students, this is a concept question, like a physics question, get all the students to think about the answer and vote, see what the answers are, get them to discuss the answer, get them to vote again. It's basically putting some peer instruction in. That's one option. And the other thing we do is it doesn't have to have a right answer. Maybe it's only a stimulus. So, i.e., this one is actually, question comes from the pilot. One of the pilot was law. It was about about the profession and the ethics of the law profession. And it was great. The introduction lecture, basically, the lecturer talked about how lawyers were typecast, basically, in the media. So how are they typecast in the news, and how were they typecast in TV and movies? And it was a great introduction. So the stimulus question is what best represents how lawyers are portrayed in the media. So crooks, liars, arrogant, hero, sexy. And that was sort of the stimulus. Then they sort of broke up into groups. And how this one was used was, it wasn't all the students actually responding. It was form small groups, have a discussion, and choose a scribe. And one of them responds. And this is a really great introduction. You know, how a lawyer, you know, this is your chosen profession. How is your chosen profession viewed by the world, basically? Why? And especially the ones basically from the news of, you know, crooks, lies, etc., that really led into the discussion about the ethics around the profession. So that's one mode of use. I'm just going to go back here quickly. The other mode of use is you don't have to have lectures, you could create a class. I created a class, I've uploaded a video to this one, and this video is just going to be like an online activity. So there's a video there for the students to watch. Now that video has no meaning except it's copyright free, so I use it, and it's a small file, so I use it all the time. But the big thing is I could upload a video and I could add a discussion question in there with it. So this could be both in class, active learning, as well as an activity online to do with a video, so asynchronous. And the students can do a few different things. They can like it or thumb it up. They can add comments, they can bookmark it, they can add in new questions, etc. So we're getting a few comments come up there. The students have the option to post anonymously, but it's not quite anonymous. Anonymous means that the other students in the class don't see their name. The lecturer, the staff members can always see their name. It basically comes up with their name and anonymous in brackets. The trick is, though, is to not show this on the data projector. Yes. So one of my lecturers who wanted to use it that way, she just showed this. She just didn't show it on the screen, and she just had like her phone and she looked at the questions coming up and let them put in there anonymously on her phone or another device, basically. So that's that option. And just quickly, because I want to sort of get some feedbacks, there's analytics here. The analytics take 24 hours to come through, so the analytics you're seeing are from other workshops. But basically, for all my different classes, I get some basic stats on engagement, who was there, how many people were there, did they view the slide deck, did they answer the polling questions, etc. I can get some feedback on some individual students. I can choose which class that I'm looking at. I can search. I can set up what's called an engagement score. So if you want an overall score, you can basically set up an overall score that's based on a few factors. So in that score, do you want to include attendance, them viewing the presentation, them answering Q&A questions, them being involved in the activities. So maybe, for example, with my activities, I don't care what else they do, but I'm only interested in if they are involved in the Q&A questions and the polling. So that's the score, and that makes up an engagement score that the students receive. And as you can see, to answer that question, you can export the questions back to the grade book. How am I going for time? 5 minutes. So that's just a quick overview. Does anyone have any questions? I'd really like your feedback. Do you think this tool's useful? Would you use it? Etc.
So with the getting into this, you had to put the students in asking as students, is that right?
Yeah, because you're staff members, and this is not a real course, it's a training course, I had to add you in. So sometimes it takes a while for you to come through, etc. That's why you might have problems accessing it. But for the students, it's automated.
Right.
So all their enrolments come in automatically, just like their enrolments in Blackboard come in automatically. So there's no setup for real students in real courses. Yeah.
So,
Sorry, saying it?
you mean if they somehow need to... Not
Sign it.
They are need to sign it. Also, your automatic enrolment in a course will automatically put you into these. Oh, great. So normally, as an academic student, as a staff member, you just use your own sign, etc. to do it again.
Yeah. It's because I wanted you to participate as students.
Yeah.
So if I put you in as staff members, you couldn't participate because you'd have the same access as me. Yeah. Sam?
Yeah, also a quick question is to ask Chime that he want to separate his analytics into his different classes. Is that possible? Or could it seem to all display all the analytics in the one?
You need a link. Each link creates a column in Grade Centre. So you need a link per column that you want in Grade Centre. We'll take this offline, but I probably can come and set it up with him. We basically put in extra links and hide them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Any other sort of feedback?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
For example, compared to Poll Everywhere, in Poll Everywhere we can see the results coming live. Is it possible to see the results here the same way?
No. Yeah. Any other questions? So it's mainly active learning, really. Yeah. Or the discussion. The other thing is the discussion question. You could use discussion questions in a seminar or lecture as well. So yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, by the way, we run workshops on this. We offer individual tutorials through our e-learning solutions service on this as well. And we're very keen to get people started using the tool and get some feedback. So some of the feedback and tips, etc. I've been giving are coming from staff using the tool. Yeah. Thank you.
We're going to have our coffee break now.